old miniature Australian Shepherd who are wild-ass dogs in the first place. Okay? Fast little buggers. If something falls, like a leaf falls, she literally gets so excited, she starts screaming. That's how crazy wild this dog is. And that's normal for this kind of breed. There are other breeds who are also that kind of crazy. So to have a dog go from learning to be calm and not charging and putting her mouth on everything and charging dogs and people and grabbing objects and chasing and all that kind of garbage, and house training in my house, that's one task already. But then that has to be brought over to his house, and he has to have the same boundaries, the same crating, the same penning, the same sort of, set of rules in his house, which will take him a lot less effort. But this client refuses to put any effort into it. Now, I'm not just picking on this one person. This, like I said, is not uncommon. It's just this one is particularly phenomenal to the point where I have to prove that I am not liable for the lack of control this dog has in his house, and to prove that I do not owe him any money back for the training that I put into it. Because simply he has not fulfilled his part of the contract, right? So I'm sure any of you have run any businesses, you've experienced this yourself. So this is the deal, though. It keeps coming up over and over that people just want to get their dogs and not have to put any of the work into it. Like, getting a dog is like getting a hamster. And I love hamsters, so I'm not putting hamsters down. But here's the deal. My job is to teach you guys how to teach your own dog. The relationship with a dog is not about simply, I've got this little piece of art that I can show off without putting all the work into the relationship. And that's what it is. It's a relationship, folks. It's a constant changing relationship. And like any other relationship, it has to actually be worked on. If you don't work on it, it goes down the toilet really fast. Ask anyone who's been through a divorce or a breakup or anything like that, and then afterwards they realize that they didn't put in the effort that they were supposed to. And that's the worst kind of breakup, because then you realize it's your own damn fault. So, now when it comes to a dog, you're changing the boundaries, and you expect the dog to just sort of magically figure it out. Just magically, beyond what their capabilities are, beyond what their brain is capable of. The dog is not capable of transferring that information automatically. Even if you house trained your dog, how many of you experienced going over to a friend's house and you walk in with what you thought was a well-behaved dog because you worked at it, and all of a sudden the dog takes a piss on your friend's carpet? Why? Because they don't know inside outside automatically. You have to experience that and go, oh, I got to catch that moment. You have to take the risk that they may do that, and then correct the dog in the appropriate way, which is really quick and over with really fast. And then they start going, oh, you mean in this context those rules also apply? I mean, to them, it doesn't make any difference. It's a carp. It's not in your house. So as long as it's not in your house, it's okay. That's the only thing they learn until they experience other contexts, right? So to actually expect a dog to just be a one-time training deal and not the lifestyle and work that it's supposed to be, then that's where people like that just shouldn't have a dog, period. They just shouldn't have a dog. Unless you pick out an old dog who just needs a couple of years to sleep on your, front porch or in your living room, and you pet them because they've got nothing left to give to the world other than a little bit of a walk and a little bit of sleep. And if that's what you want, go for it. You got a couple good years out of that deal. All right? But that's not how it is when you get a puppy or when you get a young dog. That's a whole lifetime of working at it. So, in this situation, it's amazing how many people are not willing. Like even my other clients, they come and I always say, start off with 15 minutes, build it up, build it up, build it up. But start off with 15 minutes if that's all you know how to do right now. But that's not the way it should be the rest of their life. You got to keep working at it. You keep got to raising the bar. Your dog's going to get bored out of their freaking mind if you never challenge them with new things, and that's called training, and that's called a working relationship. And so with folks who think that they're just going to get this nice little marble sculpture and get this perfect little living sculpture walking around with them and going to the office and never being a jackass because they think it's just a one-time deal. I just need to program it like a computer. I just need to put the remote control and program it so it's a universal remote control, and all he has to do is think about it like a Segway, and the dog acts perfectly well without ever putting any work into it. BS, folks. It's not how it works. It's a living creature, right? That's why it's so cool. It's a living creature. If you wanted a robot, you get yourself a damn robot. So, the deal is that I also want to give you another news flash, just in case you hadn't figured this out, but I think most of you listening have. Here it is. You ready? Dogs are opportunists. Yeah, it's part of their survival skill set. If you give them the opportunity to be a jackass, they will. So, until they are physiologically and psychologically mature enough to respect your boundaries without you being in the room and watching them, which takes some time and takes some work and takes consistency, then they're going to be a jackass. They're going to take the opportunity to get into as much trouble as possible. Just like kids, just like you probably did. I'm just saying I was weird. I was not like that, which I should have been, but I wasn't. So there you go. So I caused my own trouble now. Anyway, so dogs are opportunists. So if you got a little puppy who's got the ADD issues of a gnat and screams every time she's excited, what do you think is going to happen if you let her run around the house without any boundaries, without any supervision, without any consequences to her causing trouble? She's going to do it, and she's going to get high off of it. You should see her eyes just rolling out and glazed over like she's freaking, what's his name, Jack Nicholson, and screaming red rum. I'm telling you, this little beast is going to go there because no one's telling that little beast to stop because they just expect it to just happen naturally. I look at that little beast in my house, and I'll have to just go from across the room, and she's like dropping the sock and then kind of laying down and going, Dari, and vibrates in place because her hormones are going crazy because she's a puppy and she's a spaz monkey, and that's the way she is. But her owner has to learn how to do that, to have a well-behaved dog. So, here's the deal. I, as a dog trainer, can do all the boundary setting that could possibly be expected of a small young dog. But if the owner lets the dog loose in the house, unsupervised with no consequences to any missteps, then you're just going to get a wild beast every single time. And then every time the dog comes back to me, I have to restart over. It takes 3 days to get back to where I was before I last left her, and then try to build up from there. And by that time, the time is up. So all training towards good behavior just ends up going down the toilet, right? So, here's the deal. As it is, I'm spending more time relating to this person's dog. The dog's practically mine, but being paid for by somebody else. That's not the way to have a dog. It's about a relationship. If you're not going to have a relationship and work on it every day in the best way you can, there is no point in having a dog or a cat. I'd say snake or hamster is about as best as you're going to get. Goldfish? I say no. Because first of all, you don't get to pet a goldfish when you feel like feeling sorry for yourself and want somebody to actually console you, which is why a lot of folks like this actually get a pet. But, besides the whole showing off thing, but actually taking care of an aquarium is more work than taking care of the cage of a snake or the cage of a hamster. So I say snake or hamster, not both at the same time, clearly. So, relationship. The dog needs that relationship with you to feel safe, to feel loved, to feel trusting. How abusive is it that you don't have a relationship with your dog because you refuse to put the little bit of work here and 15 minutes there, 5 minutes there, 10 minutes there throughout your day to work with your dog? And I'm not saying those of you with a full-time job and you're gone 10 hours a day that you can't do that. Your dog once they're kind of close to adult, like 8, 9, 10, months a year, they're sleeping all day anyway, so the 10 hours can go by fine. But when you're home, it's work time, it's play time, it's structure time, it's relationship time. Even telling your dog to get out of the kitchen and go into the crate while you're cooking your own meal is relationship. So, if you're not doing that, what's the point for the dog? What's the dog getting out of this? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. They might as well be an ornament on the wall. So, training is that huge integral part of the relationship. It's that working part. It's part of what makes them social animals. And training has to do with two parts, right? Behaviors like the sit and the down and the stay, and the boundaries. Don't chew my electrical cords. Don't eat my socks. Don't get in the kitchen when I'm cooking. Boundaries. Don't jump on my guests. Don't jump on me. Don't nip my hand when I'm walking through the house. You know, little things like that. Boundaries. So, bottom line is this. A pet dog is meant for work. If you don't have the time or the patience to do the work or learn to do the work and start making that change, don't get a dog and don't hire a trainer and blame them for not doing your work. If you want to get in shape, but you're not willing to do the sit-ups and the diet and everything else, then don't hire a personal trainer and pay them and then blame them for still being fat and lazy. Sorry, it doesn't work that way. The personal trainer is not there to do the work for you. The pet trainer for your dog is not there to do the training for you. We're here to guide you, help you, give you the techniques, and tailor it for you and your dog and for the vision you have for your dog in the future. That's it. So, for those of you who have kids who are begging you for a dog, you may edit out and bleep out some of my words here, but on the other hand, I would have them listen to this and make it very serious. It is a relationship that requires constant work and constant thought. So, it's dog time when you're growed up time. That's what I'm talking about, or you're about to be growed up. So, as they say in the South. So, or we said in the South, I'll take full responsibility for that. Anyway, so that's my rant for this week, starting off the new year. Hello! If you're going to make a resolution about getting fit, you better make sure your dog's getting fit and you got to do the work. You know what I'm saying? And it's not the dog trainer's fault unless they just didn't show up, which I show up. So, there you have it. All right, so there are some new group classes coming up. We started already this past weekend at bluecollarworkingdog.com. Check it out on Sunday, a noon class for street obedience. That's for your dog-aggressive dogs. So if you say that your dog is an a-hole and wants to kill other dogs, you're probably in the perfect class for me. So it's bluecollarworkingdog.com. Street obedience starting this coming Sunday, the 11th at noon. And I think there's still some space available for you. If there's not, please contact me at thatdogtrainingshow@gmail.com and I will assess the situation, possibly get you in anyway. And also there's the Pack Leadership Seminar, now practically almost, not yet, but almost will be, world famous Pack Leadership Seminar 101. So it's not for dogs, just for people. And it's a 3-hour, one-woman, usually comedy show, although it's kind of serious. You'll get some good information out of it. And it's on the 18th, so you can go to bluecollarworkingdog.com to check that out. So, folks, till next week, remember that in the dog world, to love is to serve. So, give your dog the opportunity to serve you every day in just little ways, and in return, serve them well. Talk to you later, guys. I just wanna